Okay, so this PowerPoint supports level 3 business studies, marketing planning internal. This is the second lesson in the course so far. So in this PowerPoint, we're going to look at different types of objectives, explain how objectives can reflect the corporate culture, and to an extent, analyse the effectiveness of strategies in pursuing those objectives. So when we're talking about objectives, we are focusing on marketing objectives, so objectives at that level. Okay, so objectives, okay, they can be set at different levels. So your corporate objectives are more likely to be focusing on your visions and your missions, and your intents. Your functional is going to be at the different departmental areas, and your tactical is going to be very much your short-term sort of strategies. So at a corporate level, you're setting it for the whole organisation. So as an example here, different types of um, corporate level objectives, and as you can see, they're very general. Okay, and as we can see, all of these are very much focused on some sort of quantitative assessment. So that is using figures, largely about return on investment, profit levels, or earnings per share, all reflecting the success governed by financial gain. So the type of organisations, as you can see down here, they wouldn't suit. Obviously, this would be very much in the realm of ANZ and Pack and Save, you could argue. Possibly not so much the Salvation Army, because they're not really driven by the profit objective. Likewise, Oxfam as a charity, quite similar to the Salvos. But also Wellington City Council possibly wouldn't be measured so much in terms of this type of gain. So the ones it wouldn't suit would be these ones here, Oxfam and the Salvos as charities, and as a public sector organisation, Wellington City Council. So on a functional level, when we're looking at a functional level, we're particularly looking at the specific objectives for each department. Now we're in this internal focusing on marketing. So at this level, we're looking at those specific objectives for marketing activities. So these might be examples of this. Okay, building a customer database, 250,000 households, market share of 10%, achieve a 75% customer awareness of our brand. So what we can see from a marketing point of view, this is very much looking at the amount of customers that this organisation may hold, which is also obviously part of the marketing department is to raise that awareness and communicate to these potential customers and existing customers the existence. So when looking at these, okay, we can see that a lot of these are going to fit into the previous corporate objectives. So in terms of how this fits into the previous objectives, obviously these largely will, these two particularly have an element of profitability that will be the side effect. Particularly the market share one of 10%, that should have a knock-on effect on the profitability. Perhaps actually this 250,000 households. So what we can see that these would link in to those other corporate objectives. Now this is very important. When it comes down to tactical, these are very much short-term objectives that come from the short-term strategies, okay? Completed by small groups within the marketing department. So within the marketing department, there might be a group focusing on particularly promotion techniques. Another marketing department, within the marketing department, they might be focused on pricing techniques. And so for all of these, they would have their own objectives, which once again would fit in to the whole overriding functional objective, which would then feed it back up to the corporate objective. Okay, so all of these things would contribute to achieve the overall marketing objectives and the overall objectives of the organisation. Okay, so one key thing of all objectives across all levels is that they have to be smart. Now, if we go back and look at some of those objectives, we can see that they will be specific, measurable, key ones. So you can see how successful you are. Achievable, realistic, and are they time related as well? So if we go back and saw, just flip back, saw some of those objectives, we can see that from here we've got something that we can measure. Going back to the profitability, there's an idea of measure. Realistic and achievable, well, we don't really know the full context, but this gives us an idea as to how specific and measurable. And also, to an extent, if you look at this one, this is also related to saying it's time related. So it's a key thing that we need to just be aware of, and that is the specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time related. Now, to ascertain the success or the failure of some of these objectives, what you can basically do is put it into some sort of logical decision-making model. So marketing decisions can be set in a very basic framework model. It's like a model of inquiry. It's not just used exclusively for marketing-based ideas, but does give us an idea. So it feeds the whole idea, feeds the corporate and the functional objective. So what we have at the top is our corporate objective, feeding down to our marketing objective. And from within that, we would therefore have our tactical objectives lying in here, which would be reliant on, okay, if you've got an objective, first off, as part of your strategy, collecting data, analysing that data, from that creating some form of hypothesis, testing that hypothesis, reviewing that hypothesis, did it work or not, and then going back, how well did it affect our marketing objectives. So this is a very general model, but it's one that can be applied in the context of, say, market research or other marketing goals and marketing aims.